Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with the month of September coming up quickly, which is National Preparedness Month, I thought I'd take on doing a few different solar generator reviews. Now what you're looking at here is the AFERY 2400 watt 2048 watt hour solar generator. And when I was emailed by this company, I was like, man, why does that name sound or look familiar? And this is why. Because I've been using the one that I reviewed, their original one that I reviewed just a few years ago for that entire time as the backup to my Toyo stove, which is the stove that heats my entire house. And since it's stood the test of time, I thought that it would be great to go ahead and review the updated version. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you've been watching me for a while, you know that one of the things that I like the most is simplicity. And this is a very simple machine, and we will go over the functions here in a minute. But first, let me show you the things that they came with. First thing is just the owner's manual. The second thing is something that I like a lot. This right here, a cover for it. And why is that? With this, you can cover it up and not have to worry about any dust or anything else getting in while this is not in use. And the other things that it came with are garden variety items like your warranty card, your wire for your solar panels. It's hooked up for MC4 or wired for MC4 connections, which is pretty much the most standard connection there is in solar. And then you have your UPS wire, no charging block. Anyone that makes a solar generator nowadays that has a charging block needs to come and join us in the 21st century when it comes to solar generators. So this is great. And something very nice that they threw in is a little pouch to keep everything. And another thing that I have to say I like is that they went ahead and put a little compartment up here so that you can store your cables when you're not using them. This is a very refined and good looking machine. It's something that you can put in your living room and not be like, man, that thing is just an eyesore. But I know that the looks of it doesn't really have anything to do with its functionality. So as you can see, this is the front, and we'll come back to the front later on to show you everything that it does. Here is one of the sides, and this is the intake for the air, and this is going to be your AC connections here, your AC outlets. It comes with 6 20 amp AC outlets and the button with which you turn it on right there. Very simple. The back just tells you some of the specifications that it has. Here is the fan output. It's either the output or the input. So one of these sides has the fans on it. But it has overload protection, meaning that, let's say for example, you have this plugged into your AC outlet at the house and there's some kind of a lightning storm and you get a jolt of electricity coming in or a surge. Well, this is going to protect the battery from getting fried from that lightning per se. You're going to have some of your inputs here. You're going to have your AC input. This machine right here will charge from your wall outlet at about 1100 watts, and that's the only charging level that it has. So pretty much any wall outlet in your house is going to be able to charge this as long as you don't have like a vacuum cleaner or a microwave or something that's going to be drawing a lot of power at the same time that this is being charged. The input on here is the first time I've seen a solar generator have an input of an XT90. So the wire that it came with the MC4 connectors for your solar panels will attach to this on the other side, and it's an XT90, which is a little bit bigger than an XT60 that we've seen in the past. And this XT90 solar input connection, ladies and gentlemen, will allow you to input up to 500 watts of solar, and I do believe is no more than 50 volts at a time. Now, in addition to telling you about the specifications and what it can do, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be doing an overload and a UPS test to see how much we can overload this before it trips and to see how seamless the UPS, the uninterrupted power supply on this machine is. The owner manual says that it's 10 milliseconds or less, which is super fast, meaning that you can pretty much plug anything into this machine if you want to keep it running after a grid failure, and it will have a seamless transfer of power from grid power to battery power. So that's a really good thing. So the working side of the AFERY is going to be over here. You're going to have DC, and it's going to have your garden variety cigarette lighter right here. It's going to have a couple of 5521 ports, and it's going to have an XT60 output as well. It has a large selection of USB outputs. It's got 2 of the USB-A's that are fast charging. It has 1, 2, 3 USB-C that will charge up to 20 watts, and it has one output USB-C that will charge up to 100 watts. In order to turn these on, you just push the button. Same things with the light and the power. All you have to do is hold it for a few seconds and it should power right up. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have to say that I really like this LCD screen because it has such big numbers and letters, and that is a big deal for me now, especially that my eyesight is going with my age. Obviously, you can see that I've already charged this machine to full 100% power, and you can see that the little power bar here is pretty cool, just because I ain't seen it like this before. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars, which represent 20% charge for each bar. It tells you the time remaining of output, so 99 hours plus at 100%, because we don't have anything coming out, and the actual output watts, it tells you right here. And when you're charging it, you'll see that there's an input watt as well. So for our output test, we're going to be using a couple of things, enough that I know will go over 2400 watts continuous. This is my little handy dandy heater that I will probably have to be using here pretty soon, because the lows for today on the 20th of August, I believe it's the 20th today, it was like 42 degrees, ladies and gentlemen. 20th of August, 42 degrees over here. The other thing is going to be this water heater. This usually gets up to about 1100, 1300 watts. And this, I believe, goes all the way to about 1500 watts. So we'll see at what point it trips. Let's go ahead and turn it on. We're going to go ahead and bring it over here and turn on our AC. This right here is the wire for the heater, and you'll see this light turn on as soon as we plug it in. That right there is on off. And there you go. You can see that it's on right there, and it's only on fan, so it really shouldn't be drawing much. Let's go ahead and put it on high. All right. So you see it's only on fan right now. There's no heat, and it's drawing about 10 watts. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and plug in our water heater to see where we're at. And since this has a medium and a high, or a low and a high, we should be able to play with this to see how high we can take this machine. So let's go ahead and plug in our hot water heater, or our water heater. If the water was already hot, ladies and gentlemen, we wouldn't need it. So let's hope that you can see this here. Let me see. You can see that the light is blue in there, which means that it's not on yet. But we're going to go ahead and hit start, and you should see this light turn kind of like red. And there you go. The light turned red, and you can see that pretty much immediately our wattage is up to 1200 and roughly 40, 44, something like that. But let's go ahead now and turn this on medium. And you can see that pretty much immediately it went right up to 2000 watts. It's holding at about 1990, 1980 or so. We'll give this a minute or so to stabilize, and then we'll put this on high and see how fast this is going to go ahead and fall out. Which, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's a good thing that a machine falls out soon after the parameters are met for how high it should be putting things out. Some people may say, oh wow, look at this machine, it's rated for 2400 watts, but we've been running it at 2800 watts for an hour, right? Or something like that. But in my opinion, that's not good, because if this machine is rated for 2400 watts, then it shouldn't really go that much above 2400 watts before it falls. Again, we're still steady at about 1980 watts. Let's put it on high now. We're at 2400 watts, which is what it's supposed to be able to do continuous. Now, I'm not sure if this machine does this or not, but I do know that there are some solar generators that I've reviewed in the past that just won't allow you to go any further than what they're rated to go. And what they'll do is they'll just give these appliances less power. All right, I'm not sure if this one does that or not, but we're going to find out right now because we have a hair dryer right here, and we're going to turn it on and see what happens. As you can see, it got up to 2,500 watts pretty quick, but then it came back down. And this hair blower definitely did not reach its maximum output. Now we are going to do a UPS test, an uninterrupted power supply. Now, if you remember, I told you that the UPS for this unit is about 10 milliseconds, which is extremely fast. Now, for those of you that are pros at solar generators, you know exactly how UPS works, but I'm going to go over it really quick for those of you that don't. UPS means that when you have this machine right here hooked up to the grid, right? We're going to hook this machine up to the grid, and you'll see that we are now getting an input. This will get as high as about 1,100 watts or so, and hopefully you'll see that here even though we're over 90% charged. Now, if you have an appliance hooked up to this machine, and it could be anything, it doesn't have to be a heater. What happens is while this is hooked up to this machine, and this machine is hooked up to the grid, this appliance will be drawing electricity right from the grid, bypassing the internal battery. As soon as the grid power shuts down, it will convert to receiving power from the battery, and you should see that the light here that's red, you should see that it doesn't even blink, because 10 milliseconds is pretty darn fast. So let me stop talking and let me show you exactly how that works. Let me go ahead and turn this on. And we don't necessarily have to have it turned on heat or anything like that, because what we're looking at is this light right here to see if when I unplug it from the grid, see if this light flickers or not. Let me bring you in a little closer. So you can see that the light is on and that this is running, and you can see hopefully right here that it is plugged to the grid. And you can also tell that it is plugged to the grid right here. And you can see that it's using AC power by looking at this right here. All right, so as soon as you see this go off, because I unplugged it from the grid, this should continue to run, and there really shouldn't be any hesitation in this switching from grid power to actual battery power. So let's do it. 1, 2, 3. It's off. No hesitation whatsoever, ladies and gentlemen. And you can see that there's no grid power in here coming in anymore. Let's try it again, all right? Okay, it's back. You can see that it's actually taking power from the grid. You can see that it's hooked up right here, and you can see that it's still taking it from this machine. So what we're looking for is to make sure that as soon as I disconnect from the grid, that this doesn't flicker, and that you can tell that we're not getting any more power from the grid, right? Let's put it higher. Let's see if that makes a difference, if using more electricity makes a difference. I don't think it will. All right, here we go. I got the grid right here. I hope that you can see my hand. 1, 2, 3, off. And you can see that it was seamless. So ladies and gentlemen, when I received the email from AFERY asking me, hey, do you want to review our newest model? I was delighted for that reason, because I have been using the first one that I reviewed from them for the last, I think, 2 or 3 years now, probably closer to 3. And it's still working, and it's still doing what it's supposed to be doing. And we use that on a daily basis, not only because it's being used via UPS, by my Toyo stove, but because my daughter and all of us use it to like plug in USB devices. So in my opinion, this is a great machine. I do recommend it, and AFERY is offering us a coupon so that you can save a little bit of money on the purchase if you are in the market for a solar generator. I'm very glad that I was able to figure out a way to get solar generators shipped here to Alaska, because it allows me to test out and review different models for you all. Again, thank you very much, AFERY, for sending me this to review. If you'd like to go take a look at them, I'm going to leave the link to their site on a pinned comment along with a code so that you can save some money if this is what you want to settle on, and if you're looking for a solar generator. God bless every one of you. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.